Okay, Chris, welcome to the podcast, big man. Really appreciate you being on today. Let us know where you're from, a little bit about yourself, if that's okay.
Of course, mate. Cheers, Dazza, for reaching out and getting me on. But yeah, I'm from the northeast of England. But I would say I've travelled around quite a bit and lived a couple of different countries, and that has allowed me to experience many things across my life and within the fitness industry, different cultures, different approaches, and I guess like a different view. I would say I've got a different view on fitness and everything to a lot of people. Not that it's better, it's just different because I've experienced different countries and different people, and again, different different nationalities and different cultures and how they train and approach things. But I think like underlyingly the fundamentals will stay the same, or they should be the same to like really enjoy it and get the best out of it. That never changes. But
No, it doesn't, mate. But I follow you on Instagram, and I've seen a lot of your workouts. I'm quite similar. I feel as though we've got some shared things we enjoy. We love an EMOM. We love the rowing machine. We love getting after it, chasing some pain. And we're also, dare I say it, both older master athletes.
Oh, mate, absolutely. I'm 42 in March coming up.
Okay.
Which
Well,
is,
I can top it. I can top it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. How are you now?
I'm 44.
All right, cool. Yeah. And I wouldn't have put you at 44, and
Thank
that
you.
is proof of what we're doing is benefiting our life and helping our life through. Look, everyone looks on first appearances, and if someone thinks you're younger, but you understand that the lifestyle you lead can change the way people view you, not because younger's been better or older's been better, but it's always nice when you're in your 40s and a guy or even a girl to be believed that you're in your mid-30s.
For sure. It feels good, right? It feels good. We've earned that.
Mate, of course you absolutely earned it. And a few people have said to me, oh, like late 20s. I'm like, come on, I don't look like I'm in my winner. I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it all day long, all day. But it is fundamentally, it is a reflection and a mirror of the lifestyle that you lead.
It certainly is.
That is, we'll come on to stuff like that, but that is like the truth of it, because you take someone who's lived the opposite kind of lifestyle, who are in their 30s, even late 20s or in their 40s, and they will look remarkably different to ourselves.
Yeah. And it isn't also just like how people look. I mean, I will send you the image. So how I was when I turned 39, 40, you'd look at that photo, not only physically am I in a really bad place, but you would see that mentally I was in a bad place. So what people see physically is one thing, but what actually they don't see a lot of the time is the mental side of it. And I feel in a really good place mentally now. And people don't see that because we can't project that physically. It's not until you talk to people, have a conversation, you actually find out how they are mentally and when you get to know them. So again, it isn't just that physically they might look great. Are they mentally great? You don't know till you talk to them. But I know back end of my 30s when I started getting back into the fitness, it's a big change. Mentally I was in a really dark place, and the physical side of it has made such a big difference. And have you found that as well with yourself mentally?
I'm going to probably say something that is out of the ordinary here, but you've touched on an amazing topic, because it also has the counter effect. You'll see somebody who looks in amazing shape, you believe they're in the prime of their mental and physical fitness, and they're the absolute opposite mentally.
Yeah.
Which is another element which we can definitely dive deeper into.
Agreed.
But just to answer the question you've just asked there, is I stepped into a gym at like a proper gym at about 12 or 13 years old. I remember the first gym I ever stepped into, it was in my leisure centre, and I had to sneak down because I wasn't allowed. When I always used to book the badminton court and then sneak into the gym. Basically, that's what I used to do with one of my mates. And I was swimming, badminton, football at the leisure centre. And that was the very first experience I went into a gym, because I used to watch I've played football all my life. I still play now. But when I was growing up, it was always like Rambo, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Predator, all those kind of things, mate.
Rocky, let's go.
Mate, bread and butter. And it was also WWF, what it was then, back then.
Wow. Who was your favourite?
Oh, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Wow, big. Mine was Ultimate Warrior and the Bushwhackers.
Yeah, mate, I was, and then you got Mankind, and then you got Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan. Like, they were classics when in our age bracket when we were growing up. They were on the telly, mainstream WWF, absolutely amazing. And the influences for me were like a little bit you'd see it, but like the Ronnie Coleman, like into bodybuilding, and then it was like WWF and WWE, and then it was kind of like the Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
yeah, yeah.
You know, they were the
And
three.
Dolph Lundgren for me,
Yes. Yeah.
beast.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they were big influences to me. I don't really project that very much or tell that, but they were huge influences when I really stem where I've got this drive and passion for physical fitness and attributes from. So I stepped into a gym at 12, 13 years old. I used to get my workouts from magazines, and I used to
Yeah,
tear the magazine out or take it down with me, write it out on a bit of paper. No clue what I was doing. So it was like dumbbell bench, lat pull down, some rows, bicep curls, like just learning as I went along. Nobody taught me. And that's how I started learning. And that's how I got into the gym. And then when I started getting a bit of a good shape, people noticed. And even then at a young age, it just gave me some power, give me satisfaction, it give me pleasure, it give me purpose.
yeah,
And again, just sorry, I always go off on tangents, but to answer your question, ever since then, I've never left the gym. And I'm 42 years old coming up. I've never been, this is the other thing. Again, I sound a bit of a dick saying it, but it's the truth. I've never been out of shape. I've never not had a six pack. I've never not had a physique that I've been proud to take my shirt off every single day for the last
yeah.
30 years of my life. And
Amazing.
I've never gone on ups and downs throughout that. I've obviously you dial things in a bit when you're going on holiday. You lay off a little bit in the winter time, maybe in elements, but I've never changed. For me, that's always kept me. I've always been driven. And again, looking back to influences, we have horses and land still to this day. My mom has horses, and when I was growing up, we baled the hayfields, we fixed the fences, we carried heavy shit. We would ride the horses, obviously, every weekend and throughout the week, clean them out. We would do all the farm work. My granddad had a wood mill, so we'd be carrying all the big wood logs around. We had woods and a quarry by the side of us. We'd build a shed. We'd built like massive shed. We built,
That was like Rocky Four to me.
mate,
The
we did.
rematch.
Like, honestly, that was how my childhood and up to like my late teens, and even now, if my mum needs fence posts putting in, I'll go and put 15 fence posts in for her, hammer them in, put the barbed
Brilliant.
wire on, like that kind of stuff. Like I used to carry up, looking back, like probably 20, 30, 40 kilo fence posts,
Yeah.
8 posts up 300 meters, 400 meters up to the top field, up some hilly areas,
Great
do
workout.
that over and over. And again, that had a huge influence on my activity, my work ethic, the hard work in the cold, in the winter, in the summer. And then the gym stuff was just like cool shit. You know, like one of my uncles, strongest man I know, never been to the gym in his life, just a hard farmer guy, like farmer man, you know.
Yeah.
So I've had both sides of being able to actively be hardworking when I was a kid, because that's what my mum and dad and granddad and uncles used to do. And all my mum's side are all like solid blokes. All my uncles,
That's how
like
you were brought up, right? That was natural
yeah,
to you. Yeah.
absolutely. So I've never. So through the gym, it just gives me like the cool aspect of everything.
Yeah.
With looking good, getting a certain shape. If I want to be a certain physique, and I've built that over and over and continued out, and it's never changed. It's never gone anywhere, and still to this day, coming up to 42 years old, so 30 years in the gym. When I say it out loud like that, it's crazy, but
Mate, that's
it'll
so
be,
cool. That is
but it'll
so
be,
cool, Chris.
but
Yeah.
it'll also be another 30 years in the
Yeah.
gym as well, going forward.
Yeah, tremendous.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about it being a really cool thing to do. You know, when you look back at late 80s, 90s and the films, the Rambos, the Rockies, the Predators, now that scene, you know, similar age, was incredible. And you only wanted to aspire to be like those guys.
Yes.
I do want to ask you, so being a Rocky and Rambo fan, what's your favorite Rocky movie and what's your favorite Rambo movie?
You know, I would say probably, I'm not. Although I have watched them, I haven't watched the Rambo movies for a long time. I should actually watch them again. I'll watch them
Rewatch
with
it,
my
yeah.
son. I'll watch them with my son. To be
Do
honest,
it.
maybe I'll cut a couple of scenes out. He's only 6, but
Fair one.
look, he can see them. I would probably say like Terminator 2 is my favorite Terminator movie.
Yeah.
Second one, Rambo, I would say the first one, because
Classic,
it
for sure.
evolves and you know, and it's also like now looking back at the movies, they didn't know if those movies were going to work or not. So it was like low budget movies, especially with Sylvester Stallone and his
It
story.
had
If
that
anyone,
dirty, grainy feel to those movies, just
yeah,
classic, off the cuff. It didn't feel like it was really written. It was just every scene was made to be that scene. When he rides on his
exactly,
bike and picks it up, and when he escapes from the jail. Oh, it's so cool. It is. It's a
yeah.
great, great movie.
And for anyone who doesn't know as well, if they haven't, they see Sylvester Stallone, but read his life story and what he come up to. He didn't even break into movies till he was
No,
like I think he was like late 30s into his 40s when he started creating Rocky. And it was literally, he
that's
was
right.
on a broken bridge of being like living like solo, ups and downs, had no money to rub together, created this script, and no one
Yeah,
knows that he'd written all these scripts and did everything himself. Finally got some cash to back him, and then created the Rocky movies, and that took him on this Hollywood dream of it. But he didn't step into like his late years or later
it
years, 30s
it
and
was
40s.
late. His journey is probably the ones that I look up to the most. I was very lucky enough to get a ticket to go to his I think it was 60th birthday party in London,
Right?
and he did a
Wow.
big speech there. Yeah, he did a big speech, and it was about his life story. I took my brother
Yeah.
with me. Incredible, incredible evening, and he spoke about all those experiences. I was sat there in tears, like he was there, like my hero, and I was just in tears. And my brother was going, "Come on, sort it out." But the effect that he had on me was incredible as I was growing up. And he was talking about when he had to sell his dog. Bupkis had to be sold just to fund his living. He then went and
Hmm.
bought the dog back after he sold the first script. And with the script, he was being offered loads of money, but he wanted to be the main character,
Yeah.
and nobody would let him do it. You can't
Yeah.
talk properly. You've got a lisp, like absolutely no chance.
Hmm.
And he backed himself. And he's like, well, okay, well, I'll do it myself. Got a bit of funding together. And those scenes through the movie when he gets thrown, I think it's an apple, we get running through the high street. That wasn't even planned. It was just like go and run. So I love the grittiness and graininess of those old movies and the
They don't
stories
make
behind it.
them, they can't make them, and they don't make them like that anymore because they just can't, unless you're a guy who just goes, right, I'm going to make a movie. Me and you, let's go make a movie. We'd probably come up with something. We'd probably come
Yeah,
up with something. We get a 10 grand budget and probably come up with something closer to a Rocky movie than Hollywood
yeah.
could.
I'm sure we'd make it work, Chris. We'd make it work. We'd get an EMOM in there
Absolutely.
somewhere.
Yeah.
No, that's superb. I do want to say as well, so we obviously both martyrs athletes. We both like our functional fitness. I'm really into my CrossFit. I know you are as well. But I do want to say, it's a bit of a belated congratulations, but you won the British Masters qualify the online. Sorry, done the online qualifiers, and then you won the British Masters event up in CrossFit Southampton.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Really challenging workouts. A really good group of guys up there. I signed up for the qualifiers, but I got injured. But I did retest some of them. Yeah, there was a workout. It was deadlift and burpees over the box, 10 down to 1 or 1 up to 10, I think it was, a
Yeah.
ladder.
That was that was one of the qualifiers. Yeah.
Qualifier, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just, there is no limit to your age, what you can do, and putting yourself out there for competitions. So from your point of view, you've gone from competing, winning the British Masters, which is a huge deal, by the way. That's incredible. Regularly working out for social media, doing it for yourself. You've trained all of your life, and the main topic for us today really is you then decided to have 3 weeks off of the gym, not doing anything. My thought, if I think about that myself, like, it scares me. Like I don't think I could do it because I need the endorphin release. Even just going to the gym to do mobility, just the environment to get in my gym, in my garden. Just I like the structure and the routine of it all, not just the workout. So yeah, from your point of view, could I just ask why you took the 3 weeks off? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest. It wasn't chosen to take
Okay.
It was actually closer. It was 4 weeks, to be honest.
Okay.
So we moved from where we were living up close to Newcastle just before Christmas. And I have an apartment that I've owned for years, and we had a tenant in. Long story short, we were renting. And then we were up there like 4 years, and the landlord said they want to sell, so we had to leave. Basically, that's the long story short. So that was in September. We were like, shit, what do we do? So we decided to come back to my hometown, and then I got my keys back from my apartment. And the day we got the keys back, that was in the middle of November. Middle of November, got the keys back and went in, ripped everything out completely, floors, some walls, kitchen, everything, and just renovated everywhere.
Okay.
We still have a couple of things. We haven't got any wardrobes at the moment, so we've got some racks behind us in stuff in the bedroom. But yeah, we basically I renovated everything. So I built the whole kitchen, fitted a whole new kitchen, did
Wow.
all the backsplashes, obviously redecorated, plastered, took doors off, put 80 square meters of laminate flooring down, which I'd never done before, put the skating boards all back on. Fully renovated. And basically that took me like a month to do. So
So it wasn't
although
actually
I was,
chosen. It
no,
wasn't
it
like,
wasn't
I'm going to
chosen.
do this. That's got to be even, for me, that's even harder. Like I have to do that. Like if it
Yeah,
was chosen,
absolutely.
it's kind of, the conversation goes a different way. But the fact that, I don't want to use the word forced upon you, but you had to do it. And you were put in this
Well,
situation.
I think this definitely goes into your question, and I think like a lot of people do struggle with it. For me, the priority was obviously getting in and making a home for me and my family that we wanted to move into. I'll be honest, the apartment wasn't bad at all. I'd had a tenant in for many years, a couple of different tenants. Last one I've been in for about 3-4 years, but it was just we just said, yeah, let's put new flooring down and put a brand new kitchen in, and that drained the funds a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, put new radiators on, did everything basically, so we could then move into somewhere, and I had to get that ready for us. The target was before Christmas. It was a week before Christmas, but it took a little bit longer. Everything does, but I had to get it finished basically. So I was in here from like 9 o'clock till up to 10, 11 o'clock at night, 5-6 days a week doing
Yeah.
all of that.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but what it did, and to answer that question, you've got to align your priorities with the period of life that you're going through at that time.
Good man.
And
Agreed.
that in itself for me is quite an easy decision. If something needs to be done, then you've got to do it, and it's forced upon you, whatever the situation. And this kind of was, look, did I need to rip everything out? No. Did I want to? Yes. Is it better now? Of course. That short-term pain, which I'll be honest, mate, I don't want to do another DIY job for a long fucking time, because I was having breakfast, and then I was probably not eating properly. I didn't eat properly for those 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I was having dinner at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And then just absolutely
That's tough. That's tough.
Mate, my back, my knees, everything was aching when I was painting the ceilings and plastering and then fitting the kit. Like, mate, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It is absolutely brutal, tidying everything up, going to skip. It sounds like, terrible thing. But I can do these things as well. I'm pretty handy. And I'm kind of sometimes like, do I pay someone to do them, or do I do it myself?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, I'll be honest, a lot of tradesmen, I did have one guy, and he was so negative. He was pissing me off. He was doing my head in. He was moaning about everything. I'm like, bro, I'm paying you to basically help me fit a kitchen, and everything was a problem. I had to move plug sockets, so I do basics electrics. I did everything.
It
And
sounds to me as though you've really made a conscious choice there. Yes, I've got something I have to do, and I'm doing it for the right reasons. And then you've gone. A lot of people, I don't think, have done this and gone, well, I'm going to let go of a passion. I'm going to put my family first, and actually, let's get all that done, and I can deal with that later on. So you are prioritizing there, and I think that's a really good thing to be able to do.
yeah, and that to go into the mindset side of things, especially what you spoke about, because that was my driver. that overtook the like the satisfaction that I get from training every single day because
Yeah.
I was doing this. I'll be honest, that gave me no satisfaction. Even when I finished something, when I finished the kitchen, I just was like, "Oh, I'm done now." There was no overjoyment. Even when I was finished, even my missus was saying like, "Oh, you're not happy with everything you've done." I'm like, "No, I'm just pissed off still," because it was tiring. It was horrible. Like, and it's still not finished, but it's just like basic stuff now with bits of furniture, until
Yeah.
until
Fair
those are
play.
done.
Fair play, mate.
But yeah, it just allowed me, and also the other thing was, I've trained all my life, right? And it's just so ingrained into me to do it. And I'm like, the way I thought about it also was like, look, if I take 3 or 4 weeks off, does it make a difference? Absolutely not. If anything, I got leaner and I lost a bit of weight because I
Yeah.
wasn't eating right and I was doing all this manual labor work. But again, that wasn't even a thought in me, for that. But it just, what another benefit of resting that long, really, from not lifting heavy weights and kind of everything like that was, it allowed, I guess, my muscles to fully recover. So when I went back to the gym now, I actually felt like I was hitting my 70, 80, 85, 90% back squats when I first went back in, like last week. Or yeah, I did go in last week, and then obviously this has been the first full week in the new year. I just left it over Christmas. I didn't even bother. I was like, all right, I had a few extra days off over Christmas and New Year. So it was just an easy decision because
Yeah.
something at that moment in time took a higher priority in the list,
Yeah.
to do, basically. Yeah.
It's really interesting though. Like, you talk about it really flippantly, like it's just like, well, I had to do this, and you've been training all your life. That's a really big thing, and people that are listening in, I think, will feel similar. They're like, what? Didn't go to the gym for that long, and you're really talking about it really easily. It's really interesting,
put it,
actually.
but also put it in perspective, right? If I've trained for 30 years, genuinely, which I haven't had long periods of time off the gym at any point in my life. This has been the longest for a number of years. I remember I took a month off probably about 7 years ago because I was living out in the Middle East and me and my wife traveled back home for Christmas. Then we went out to Barcelona and had about 3 or 4 weeks off then. And that was the longest period of time I'd had off. And that was, again, probably, it was before my son was born. So it was probably like 7 years ago. So I've never took
Yeah,
that long a period of time off for a long time. I've had weeks here and there, but nothing crazy. But again, perspective, me having a month off in that grand scheme of a 30-year period makes no difference because
it's a great word
I've,
to use, perspective.
yeah. And if you want to kind of put it statistically, if I put it into a percentage, I've probably rested not like for that long a time. A very small percentage of that period where, um, my body's built to how I've built it over this length of time. So having a month off, in my eyes, it done me good rather than doing me bad. And also, there was no way I could have went in the gym for my 2-hour sessions every day, and then because it takes longer than that when you drive to the gym, or if you're in the gym and then you train and you come out and you get changed and you want food, and then I've got to start the work that I had to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
something had to give, and it was just an easy decision. It wasn't hard for me to do at all.
If I think about not going to the gym for a period of time, let's say 4 weeks, for example, the first things I worry about and my fears, or I think other people would feel the same way, would be, right, okay, I'm losing my routine.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm going to be restless. I'm going to feel guilty. I'm going to feel frustrated that I can't do what I want to do. And ultimately, if I'm honest, probably fear of losing progress. That's how I would feel and be like, oh man. But you're right. In the bigger picture, in the grand scheme of things, we aren't going to lose much over 4 weeks. And I think that's a really good message for you to put out to everyone today. Over
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
4 weeks, you just mentioned your back squat, like, and you were still moving each day, working hard at home with the refurb, but it doesn't really affect you too much, does it? Having a few weeks off?
Not at all. And I think when you said there about like, look, I replaced my time off the gym with something else. That's the key aspect here, right? I didn't just do nothing for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
So I replaced it with another routine that was a little bit out of regular routine with something else. So that allowed me to easily slot that into the schedule and routine. So I still had a schedule and a routine that I was doing, and it was
yeah,
quite monotonous over that period of time. And it was only like last month. So I still ticked those boxes where I had my tick list of things to do, my jobs to do. I had the routine of doing it and had the schedule that I was working on or trying my best to stick to. And I literally had, like, obviously kitchen getting delivered, doors getting delivered, kitchen going in. This is the time. Then the plumber's coming. So I've got to go do this for this. And so it replaced it. So I think there's a very big difference of something that takes a higher priority and doing that for a period of time and then substituting it from the gym
Good
than
point.
just deciding, right, I'm going to take a month off, where people schedule their life with that routine,
Yeah, of
if that makes sense. So
course it does.
I think it's a very different scenario if I just said, right, I'm going to take a month off and just not do nothing, but I'm not going to train at all for a month, as opposed to I then filled it with renovation.
Yeah, it's a really,
And that,
it's a really good point.
yeah. And so I guess the fears that people would have would, in my opinion, they didn't exist because I filled it with something else. Um, from experience and knowledge, and again, it would alleviate any fears that I have. And this is a message to put to other people. If you've trained for a certain period of time, you've built your body up to a certain uh, state of being, you should know, if you've done it before, that you being off the gym for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks really is it going to have this huge effect? If anything, it will probably have the opposite effect of what you think. You're worrying about losing gains, maybe not eating right and putting on, like normal people do. Oh, will I put on weight? Will I put on body fat? Will I start not looking as good? I think rest is so underrated, or it has been. Even now, I think one of the biggest problems in the fitness industry and social media is, if you have 3 days off, say you go away with your family, or you're just not training for 3 days, all you're going to do is open up your phone and see every man and their dog doing everything that you think you should be doing, because
Reminding you
social
what you
media,
think you should be doing. Yeah,
yeah. And I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. Like, I can watch 10, 20, 30 videos on there and I'm like, yeah, cool for them. But if I've decided to rest or not go to the gym, I know within myself, again, from confidence and with experience of what I've done, I'm cool. I'm good. And that does come over time. It is a mentality and an
yeah,
unbreakable mindset that I do have, in terms of knowing my own capability and what I have to do to progress, or what I can do to regress slightly if I need to. But I think many, many people, because of social media and how it's getting pushed at the moment, overtrain to the point where, and I've spoke again to so many people where they're plateauing, they're not getting results, they're not getting stronger, they've trained for a year. And I've seen this for many years over, where people overtrain and they cannot improve because they're overtraining.
yeah,
They cannot put weight on because they're overtraining. They cannot get stronger because they're overtraining. And I'm like, the first thing I'll say is, what's your schedule? And it's like, oh, I'm training 6 days a week. I'm doing a high rock session here. I'm doing some CrossFit there. I'm doing a 5K run on a night. I'm doing this. I'm this. I'm like, bro, that's too much,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or girl, it's too much, and people, the body is something that needs work, adaptation, and recovery through fuel and rest. And a lot of people just think of it as a mind thing, but your nervous system, and your immunity, which is held a lot in your gut, has a massive influence and effect on everything. And going into it even deeper, you look at like hormones and bacteria and microbiomes and everything in your body that either improve your recovery, improve your performance, but that massively also has an effect on your mental health.
yes.
He's an American guy, and he brought an app out called Zoe, and it's like about health. But his main focus, he did a podcast with on the Diary of a CEO as well.
Okay.
So on Stephen Bartlett's podcast, but
Yeah.
it was maybe 2 years ago. But his whole field of study now is the gut and how that relates to everything. And one of the studies he'd done or been involved in was a relationship between mental health and gut health.
Okay.
Up to 80% of people with depression and a bad state of mental health, whether it be certain elements of different mental health issues or just general depression, those 80% of those people all had very bad diets and very bad gut
Okay.
microbiome
It's a
and
high
gut
percentage.
health.
Wow. Yeah. It's a
Huge
correlation,
higher
direct
percentage.
correlation. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of your, like I said, your immune system and everything is held in your gut through bacteria, and that affects people's mental
Yeah.
health and can have a massive effect on hormones, what gets released, what doesn't. But there was just a full connection between people with depression and mental health issues. Once they put them on a regular exercise schedule and a better and improved diet, where it wasn't all the fast foods, it was whole foods and it was good proteins, their mental health improved.
Yeah.
So this all comes down to the lifestyle you lead, the nutrition you eat, and then how you output it. And when you get that right, I think for a long period of time, like thankfully, obviously, I've went through a few bigger life events, but I've never been one to struggle with my mental health. Of course, you have down and up days, but I've never had any bouts of depression. I've never had any bad mental health issues, and I always put that down to the lifestyle I've chose to live and
Yeah.
what I put in my body.
Yeah. So it's a case of what you put in your body, the output that you're doing, and managing that. And it's interesting because we always think more is better. I'll go back to the point you were saying about, it isn't about the volume that you do, it's about managing it. And I think talking about as masters, older athletes, older fitness gym goers, we've got to take care even more. And I've definitely been on both sides of the scale. So when I started getting back into my fitness again when I was 39, 40, and that was because of my mental health. And I went through 10, 12 years of not really doing much. And I used to be a non-league and semi-professional football player. So football was always my thing. I was always fit, always looked pretty good and felt good, had kids, got married, really happy family. Before you know it, you're 39 and you're like, what is going on? And mentally and physically, I just felt burnt out, and fitness was great and got me back into what I wanted to do. But then I went one way. I went, okay, well, I'm all in. I've got quite an addictive personality, ADHD. It's just the way I'm built. And I went too far one way, and I just thought more every day. Bang! Just I saw all these workouts. I'm going to do every single one, and it was just way too much for a good couple of years. And then I learned a lot about CrossFit, and I did a lot of research. And then you find that balance, and that's the key word I'm using here. I found a balance of going way too much one way, learning about my body, what it can take and what it can't take, and then managing it now. On I'm in a place of, okay, well, I know I need to do this to get this intensity, and the following day I need to do a zone 2 rather than, a red line workout, and then I need a rest day. So it is definitely through experience in managing it, and going through those sessions. But I've definitely been on that roller coaster of doing way too much, doing it all wrong, learning it myself, learning about my body. And I think the key thing is people need to listen to their body, and the the pressure of social media. Would you say that there's a lot of pressure on feeling as though you always need to show up on social media? You always need to show a workout? I know a lot of other people do because that's your game.
Honestly, for me, no.
Okay.
But again, I think it's because I'm a little bit older and wiser, and quite self-assured that I don't need, like, I started my Instagram, I think like 8, 9 years ago when I was out in the Middle East. Now I set up 2 different CrossFit gyms out in Qatar. And I set my Instagram up, literally to just give workouts. So the idea when I first started my fitness page was I want people to be able to click on my page and find a workout and just copy off it.
Cool.
That was my whole point. And if you see, to this day, that never changes. I still put my workouts on and that's it. I'll just do a workout. This is a trick for anyone who doesn't already do this. I think people are quite savvy to it. Do your workout, finish it, and then just record 30 seconds of each movement that you did afterwards, and then you use that for your video.
Yeah,
instead of trying to film in the middle of your
for
session.
sure. It makes sense. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. So I would do that. And then basically just put videos on that people would like to copy off, and then I'd start getting feedback from people. Great session, great workout. Obviously making a lot of workouts up myself, getting inspiration from other people. I've got people who I look up to, and even now copy workouts from other people because they're great sessions, and give them credit to. I always give credit to other people. If it's not my session, I'll say thank you for this person. I did one yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Of one of my good friends, a guy called Brandon Luckett. He's got a platform called the EMOM Company.
Okay.
He's been a 4 times games athlete. at the CrossFit Games. We connected about 2 years ago, just started chatting. We did a few collab posts, and then we just stayed in touch. And then he put a 30-minute EMOM on, and then I did it.
Yeah, I see that. Yes, yeah, I see that. Yeah, look good.
Yeah, it was just it was bike, box jumps, and dumbbell snatch. 30 minutes, super smooth. It was smooth for me anyway. And
Yeah, a
and
nice
weirdly,
balanced
just
workout.
yeah, and I'll be honest, I thought when I went back into the gym after this period of time off, I thought I was going to feel gassed because of the intensity a lot of the time with the workouts that we do within the style of training we do and push. And I actually felt really fucking good.
Yeah,
It felt like my lungs and everything and the power that I had was there. And I do put that down to the recovery and that period of time off where,
interesting.
of course, I pushed the other day a little bit on a workout. Of course, I'm going to be gassed, but I was gassed when I was doing my peak training for the British Masters. You know, that's what you
Yeah,
need to get to. But
of
no, I
course.
felt really good. It felt like I was in a good, it's like my cells had recovered, like internally. That's how it felt.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Also, I think when you have that break, with the amount of red line workouts that we do with CrossFit and the functional fitness world, 3, maybe 4 times a week, you're pushing it,
mhm.
even
Yeah,
managing that 80% level of a 30-minute EMOM, it's still challenging. And it isn't just the physical side of it. For me, a lot of it is the mind games and the mental fatigue, that mental battle. So you're not too sure. You're 15 minutes into a 30-minute EMOM. That's when the workout starts. Actually, I now got to start playing those mind games, and you're constantly fighting with yourself. Oh, it was supposed to be 20 dumbbell snatches. I'll do 15 this round. No, I'm gonna. And you're constantly having a mind game every single round, and you're trying to get through it.
absolutely.
It's not
You
just
know,
physical; it's mentally draining.
yeah. There's been many workouts that I've over the years and times where I've gone, right, I'm going to do a 30-minute EMOM and it's 3 minutes, you know, like rounds.
Yeah,
And I've stopped at like 21 minutes if it's been too hard because that's your capacity or whatever
yeah,
it is, or you just can't be bothered on that day and you're just like, or some workouts you get bored of halfway through, so you just
yeah,
change it up and you stop. And that's just the truth of it. It's not always like picture perfect, and this is kind of something you just kind of learn and get used to. But I think, yeah, with the sessions and the workouts, it is like I haven't absolutely pushed it this last couple of weeks or this last week and a half that I've been back. I've been breaking it in it nice and steady. I've lifted a little bit heavy, but not killing myself.
yeah.
And I haven't really got any massive DOMs, but that again comes down to the recovery and food you eat and how you're training. So I'm kind of breaking myself nicely back in. And then I think going forward into this year, I'll look for another comp to sign up to, and then I'll push to elevate my fitness level and capacity. Because this is what you can do when you're at a certain level of, I think, physical condition and fitness all of the time. If, like, perfect example with the British Masters, qualified for that. I knew I was going to qualify. If I didn't qualify, I'd have probably quit everything. And then my whole goal when I went there, my mentality when I signed up for that was like, I'm going to win this. And again, it's not an arrogance in me. It's just a self-belief and a confidence where, why am I going to go to a competition and just turn up?
Yeah.
I did that to many competitions in the past where I just qualified, went and thought, I'll just go through the process. I won like the Castle Games a couple of times as well up in the Northeast, which is a very good competition.
Yeah, I've competed up there. Yeah, I drove up
Yeah,
there and qualified online and did that. It's good, great event.
yeah. And the times I won it, I literally said to myself beforehand, here's one for you. I'll tell you a little story on the Castle Games, but I said to myself beforehand, I am going to win this. And even when we were like in the groups going into the workouts, I'm like, guys, you got to beat me. And it wasn't me being, like I said, arrogant or a dick. I'm not like that, but it was kind of having a good bit of banter with people.
Of
Even if
course,
me and you were beside
it's
each
part of
other,
the
I'd be
fun.
like,
It's
of
part of the fun.
course it
Let's
is.
go. Yeah,
I'd give you a nudge. I'm like, bro, you got to keep up with me.
come on
You
now.
know, like,
Yeah,
and that's how it is. But when I've switched my mindset to, instead of going in to just participate, if I've gone in to say, right, I am going to win, and I say it out loud, then, and I'd said it out loud on my social media a few times on purpose to make sure that I could go to that
accountability,
competition
accountability.
100%. And it was just a self-proclaimed accountability where I said on my social media, I'm going to the British Masters and I'm going to win. And I did. And that was because every
Set
workout,
up, big man. You backed it up.
when I started every single workout in that comp, I was like, I've got to give 110% in every workout. There was one of the workouts in that competition was probably the worst workout I've ever done in my life.
Right. What was it?
It was I don't know who wrote it, but I think it was a terrible workout, but it was the hardest I've ever done. And I genuinely, after the second round, wanted to quit. And I was like, there's no way I can quit this. It was a sandbag workout. It was 5 rounds. It was 60 kilo sandbag, and it was 10 sandbag squats, best hug squats. No, any squat, 10 sandbag squats, a sandbag carry, 20 or 30 meters sandbag carry. So you started at the top, carried it down. Then you had to run around a loop around the AstroTurf. So I think it was about 300 meters. Then you had to come back, and within a 3-minute, you had 5 3-minute windows. Within the rest of that 3-minute window, you had to do as many sandbag power cleans with a full arm out as you could. Soon as the buzzer went, there was no rest. You had to carry the sandbag back up, go back into your squats, run again, and then do the power cleans again.
Wow.
Mate, there was no rest. There was no give up. You're carrying that bag. Your lower back was brutalized. It was horrible. The runs were like a walk.
When you said started talking about the workout, the first thing I was thinking, my back would just be gone.
Mate,
if you've got to run after the squats, like I can't. My back blows up a lot anyway when I run. But even with high volume squats, or if I go too fast on the squats, it just literally. We're getting older, Chris. It just locks up.
It does, mate. And once if your lower back starts, like it's like a plate in your lower back, and it'll burn, and it's this fatigue that's kicked in. There's lactate acid built up to the max. It's got nowhere to go. You're not flushing it through. There's no alleviation on the workout, and it is just all right. You've just got to slow yourself down to a pace. Then you can look around and gauge the field a little bit and see where everyone else is. I think I came second in that workout. There was a big lad. I think he got 1 or 2 more power clean reps in total, because that was your score. It was 5 rounds in max
as many
power
reps.
Clean
Yeah.
rep.
Yeah. But usually you get a rest off. Usually it's an interval style workout where you do that. You get a 60-second rest usually in a comp, and then you go again.
I think there should, personally, whoever programmed that, I personally think it should have been either 4 rounds with a minute rest in between, just to allow you to recover and then go harder.
Yeah, it makes the workout, I think, even harder, because you actually can go harder then, can't you? You do get the recovery, but you could push harder each round.
Yeah. If you've got a 10-minute row to do, you'll pace it. If you've got 10 1-minutes with a 1-minute rest, you'll go. Your overall output will be higher.
Of course,
because you've got that recovery. Even a 30-second rest in between those rounds in that workout would have just picked the intensity up slightly, so you could have flushed your back slightly. But the worst workout. But the point is with that is, I went in it to win, and I said I was going to do it, and I did, and I walked away like very proud of myself because I did win it. And then you just brush it off and you go, okay, what's next?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I had something similar. So I went to I went to the Arnold Fitness Games just to see and experience the atmosphere and just go there with a friend of mine. And I saw the Arnold CrossFit Games, the fitness games was on. And I was like, I'll watch a bit of that. This was 2002. And I was watching it and I was just like, wow. Sorry, 2022. I was like,
22,
wow,
I was going to say.
Yeah. This is incredible. And I've been doing movements for a couple of years. And I was like, I really want to qualify for this one day. Tried to qualify, missed out the following year, and then I did qualify, and it's like, oh, this is amazing, and I managed to win the online qualifiers. And when I went there, I didn't have that mindset of I'm going, I only want to win. I did the opposite. I was like, look, took the pressure off myself a little bit. I'm going to enjoy it. I did win the qualification, so I felt, there's a bit of pressure now. So I went the opposite and just, I want to go and enjoy it, have fun. My daughter and wife came. And it was a great family experience. It was real nice to show them what I could do, and they were really proud of me. I managed to come joint second. I actually third because he won a workout. I didn't win one, so we went advanced in second place, and he fully deserved it. But when I stood on the podium, I was expecting to get this kind of, this elation moment, like, yeah, I've done it. I watched this 2 years ago. I'm now on the podium, and I stood there. And it was cool. I looked around at my daughter and my wife. It was real nice, but I didn't really get what I wanted to. And then it kind of hit me. I was driving home, talking to the missus, and I was like, it wasn't about getting on the podium for me. What I'm most proud of is the amount of work I put in over 12 weeks. Every morning, my 5:30 alarm, going out every day when I didn't want to do it. For me, that it felt like a massive win to prove to myself that I can stay consistent. I can hit territory I've never hit before. I've never been as fit in my life, stronger or fitter. And just knowing that I had that consistency, I felt more proud of that than actually getting on the podium, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what it should be, because end of the day, look, me winning a British Masters CrossFit Championship, who cares? Like really, no one cares. The only person that should care is me. I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not going around winning competitions and making a living from that. I'm not I'm not in any pro sport or club or anything. So my mentality when I am training is to value my life and make the most of it that I can, do the things I enjoy
Yes.
and that I'm passionate about,
Yes.
and then making sure that I do enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And if you take that from the process instead of just focusing on like a micro aspect of winning or losing, I know that's a big thing at the same time, but your journey, how you've just described that, was the proudness and the accomplishment came more from your journey going through it and you seeing it 2 years prior than not winning it or winning it. I
Agreed.
think you would have had the same feeling even if you'd won, to
Yeah, I
be
agree.
honest.
I do. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, and
But I
look,
didn't.
when I
But I didn't,
but
Chris.
again,
Maybe.
but what you then do is you walk away and say, okay, how could I have won that? What changes can I make? And then
And
make sure you
I
don't.
did do that, mate. Yeah, I still reflected on all the workouts. So why didn't I win? I won the online qualifiers. They were good workouts for me. A couple of dodgy workouts in the live event. You have to get a bit lucky with the type of workouts. But hey, I qualified again this year, so I'm going back in March for the finals. So that's going to be good fun. So maybe I get to avenge it.
Yeah, a
But
great comp
ultimately,
that I did. I did the European Championships 2 years back to back. That was a great competition. I came fourth. I just missed out on a podium spot on the first time that I went there,
right,
which was disappointing. And the second time I went, I think I came like seventh or eighth. I also did the Strength in Depth Masters event a couple of years
Sid, yeah,
back. And I was disappointed, I'll be honest, with that event.
right, okay.
Very disappointed. I thought it was a
It's
bad
got a big
event.
name. It's a big brand. It's a huge event, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. In my opinion, though, I hated it.
Right. Why was
Every
that?
aspect of it. So did the qualifiers. I think I came sixth or seventh in the online qualifiers. There was 30 in my category in a very good bunch throughout that. I'll be honest, the workouts didn't fully suit me. That's not a excuse, but there was rope climbs in there. There was a 5K run. There was heavy snatch, which is my worst lift of any lift at all.
Okay.
And I don't really snatch very often, and it was just a heavy single snatch. So mine's, I think I hit like 88 or 90. But in the scheme of things, I should be hitting over 100 on a snatch. But it's just, yeah. And yeah, there was, like I said, there was rope climbs in there in 2 events, I think, and I'd never done a rope climb for about 2 or 3 years. So when I went, I was terrible. So bad, it was embarrassing. There was guys up and down the rope, and I'm still halfway up the first rope, and it was just
Yeah.
terrible. My own fault, but basically, I was training at home, and I didn't have access to a rope, and the gyms close to me didn't have a rope, and it was a bad. But even the event in itself, it was a 3-day event, Friday night, and then it was Saturday, Sunday in Birmingham. So for me, I'd spent an absolute fortune getting down there, spending it on hotels, on food, entry into the competition, spending over like $1,000. And
Wow.
the events were super short. You were there all day from like 8 o'clock to like 5 o'clock. You did 3 events. I think we did 1 event on the Friday, 3 on the Saturday, 2 on the Sunday. And then the awards were like late on the Sunday night. And it was just, there was too many things going on. And I just didn't enjoy it. It was just sitting around, waiting to do an 8-minute workout, and for the money we'd spent and the people, I didn't get the enjoyment out of that event just because of the setup of it,
Right.
really.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes
And
sense.
a little bit about me with the workouts didn't fully suit me, which I was a little
That's
bit.
what it was, really, Chris. That's what it was. It's sour
No,
grapes,
no.
mate.
Well, it's weird. After that event, I came home and I went, I'm not doing another CrossFit event for another
Really?
year or so, year and a half. And the last event, so I did the strength in depth competition. I think I finished like 18th or 14th. 14th. I don't know why 14 or 18. I have to check overall when I finished that comp out of 30 people. But so I didn't do too bad, or I was like middle of the pack. And I said to myself, I'm not doing another CrossFit comp for a long time. And then the next one I did was September, which was probably a year and a half after
Right.
that, which was the British Masters.
The maths, which you won.
And but that event though was great event. CrossFit
They put on great
Southampton,
events. They put on
mate,
great events up there, mate. It's a great box.
they locked it in. Got there on the Friday, checked in, super welcoming. Saturday morning, we did four events. It might have been 3 or 4 events on the Saturday, 3 or 4 events or whatever it was on the Sunday. Just a great atmosphere, good people. It was teens and masters, so there wasn't that much waiting between the events either. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is perfect. But when you're waiting 3.5 hours between events and then you're on for 8 minutes, I don't like that. I do like as well, like one-day CrossFit events, because it's intense. Castle Games do that. 5, 6 events in the day. Boom. It's class because you're always, and you'll know when you go to CrossFit competitions or any comps, your adrenaline, your positive attitude throughout that day goes up and down like this 10 times over because you've got on a super high doing the workout, then it drops and you dip, then you get tired, then you eat some sugar and some snacks, and then you do another workout and it drops, and it's crazy how it goes. But your feelings and how you feel mentally as well through an event, it's so, and the atmosphere, because there's 1,000 people who you're talking to, people are come up to you. It's so draining. To do that.
It is tough, but the one day event for the British Masters, although it's a smaller venue and there's less people there, I feel to run a small event like that is a lot easier than to run the SID 3-day event with everyone. And I think the focus on that was the Masters and Teens, and that was their main focus, and you got all the focus. Whereas at SID, you'll find that the main focus is on the elite, the RX, those kind of, I think the workouts are more geared towards those people, if I'm honest with you.
I know why they do it.
A lot of people.
I think they want to obviously mimic the games. That's what Sid wanted to do. In my opinion, what should have happened is they should have had the RXs and the teams on the Saturday, all in, every single workout for them, all 6 events, and then pulled out the Masters and like the intermediate on the Sunday. So you're just there for like one day. And
that's what the Arnolds do. The Arnolds done that this year, where they've put them all in one day. Okay, smash all them out, and then also you get all the focus on you as well, so it's quite special.
Yeah. For me, I haven't looked at any of the setups, but I wouldn't do another 3-day event like that. Whereas, because also
my
as well,
body can take it, Chris. My body can take that. Well, honestly, I could do a 2-day event.
I think as well, because I didn't enjoy it. I think when you've got a family and when you're giving up like 4 or 5 days of your life and spending the money being super selfish, I could have took us on a family holiday for what I spent on that.
Yeah.
And when you get a little bit older, although it's a passion of mine, I want to do it. When I came home after that event, and I remember on the way back, it was pounding down with rain. I had to pull over because I couldn't see. That just topped it off. And it was like a 5-hour drive back home, 5.5 hours. It was a terrible drive. And I remember thinking, all I left that event thinking was, I didn't enjoy it, didn't like the events, and the system of the event I didn't like, and I just thought, I've just been selfish here.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So I promised myself I'll never do that again. So the CrossFit Southampton one was over 2 days, which was brilliant. I flew down to Southampton from Newcastle, which was a 40-minute flight. The CrossFit event gym was right next to the airport.
That's
and
right.
It was perfect. It actually was absolutely perfect. It's the furthest place for me to get to in the UK, right down to Southampton. But because I flew down, it ended up being so easy to get to. It was like me just driving up to Newcastle in the car.
Agreed. I like where you're talking about it for the last 4 or 5 minutes. It sounds as though you've really found that true identity with yourself, and actually,
Mhm.
you know what fitness is for you,
Yeah.
and you know the priorities and the family you can put forward when you want to put the family forward first, and you can work out when you want to work out. That's a really good place to be in. And I don't think many people are in that place because your self-worth is not tied to your results or your
Yeah.
fitness. You're happy in your own skin. It hasn't happened overnight. You've trained your whole life. So that is the norm to you. But for people that haven't been training their whole life, or, some young guns, 18, 20-year-olds listening to this,
Mhm.
what advice can you give to them to kind of give them a little nudge up to be comfortable in their own skin and not feel as though they have to really tie that self-worth to go into the gym and looking good?
I think it's got to go deeper than just the aesthetics, like hugely. You've got to understand why you're there. It's got to be a passion and a love. It can't be forced. Anything that's forced will always have a lifespan and an expiry date. And I think a huge part of it is just knowing yourself, and that does take a bit of time. That hasn't happened overnight for me. If you spoke to me 15 years ago, I'd be having a very different view on things, because again, I didn't have two. Well, I had one child 15 years ago because she's 16, coming up 17, my daughter. But my son's 6. That changes things, and where you want to be and how you live your life. But I think I was I don't know if you know this as well. I joined the police force at 21 and I left at
Okay.
like
I didn't know that.
27. Yeah, I was in there. I was in the police for like 7.5 years. And that job in itself gave me massive amounts of self-awareness, self-confidence, self-belief in situations, seeing the other side of society. So just doing that role, which not many people do, any emergency service role, but being a nurse, being a fireman, you have a different perspective on life because you see the other side of things. And that gave me at 21 a big eye opener to society. The best way I can describe me being in the police to not being in the police is you never see 99.9% of what goes on in society on a daily basis by not being in an emergency service and seeing it firsthand on the front line. So the day I left, never see it again,
Yeah.
ever. You might see an incident in the street, or you might drive past a crash. Might see the fire brigade or someone falling over in the supermarket, but probably that's the most you're ever going to see. Unless you're a victim of a crime, of course. But as a person, when you even spend 1 or 2 weeks as a police officer or any emergency service, you see what really goes on
Did that
in
give you more perspective, do you feel?
massively
Yeah. Okay.
huge perspective. It gave me more values. It gave me more gratitude. Made me more humble of where I've came from and the life I got brought up in, where thankfully, again, I didn't grow up in a home that showed me any of that kind of unfortunate things, that many things happen. All I used to deal with, because I worked in 2 places. I worked in North Yorkshire, which was like super rural. Literally think heartbeat, Bobby's on the beat. That was me. That was me for
PC
3
blob.
years, mate. 100%. I set up community football groups in there. We would like be dealing with farmers and generator thefts by
Get off my land.
mate. We had a wildlife officer. We had falcon crime going on, mate. It was unreal. But then after 3 years, I went up to Middlesbrough, which should be a city. It's massive, but it's probably one of the worst. It's got some of the worst crime stats in the UK. Middlesbrough. It's really bad for the crime, for the drugs, for the crime, for the violence, for the burglaries, robberies, everything. And I went from kind of countryside beat bobbying to knowing the local farmers' names in Stokesley and Northallerton and everything in North Yorkshire, to city, like job to job to job with sirens on all the
The
time, 100
opposite.
jobs
Yeah.
waiting to be dealt with, the absolute opposite. But we used to just deal with crack and heroin problems, and that goes from everything from robberies, burglaries, overdoses, fights, violence. I was in an undercover shoplifting team for about 6 or 8 months. Did some detective work on obviously solving more serious crimes. And then you see, so we used to deal with, massive crack cocaine and heroin issues in that city. This is a number of years ago, but I think it's got worse, you know. And then the other side of things, we just deal with domestics. Honestly, domestic violence was probably 40% of your workload every day. Domestic, domestic, domestic. And that range from a stupid argument with the husband and wife to literally a guy saying and threatening he's going to kill his girlfriend with a knife and have his knife on him when you walk in the house.
Wow,
Um,
that's like fight or flight mode consistently every single day, isn't it? When you're in
yeah,
that kind
you
of
are. And
arena.
some of the worst things you see naturally are when you walk into homes like that and you see how other people live
Yeah,
and the state of their homes and how they just live as humans, which is that was the biggest shock to me when I went into the police, just seeing how other people live. If they're in
yeah.
that kind of lifestyle and they're in crime in some way, or being unfortunate to be in domestic violence situations, seeing how they live and operate on a daily basis, that was killed me as a person. You see it. And then the next element onto that is kids in those households.
Yeah.
That's the most destroying part of anything. Like, you'll ask any person in the police, fire brigade, ambulance, hospital, like, seeing kids in situations that you feel so helpless in. And there's not much you can do sometimes, you know, unless you remove them, which you can, but then they go to social services, then you step away and you never see it again.
And it takes so much time, Chris, doesn't it? You know, it does. My wife works in a similar kind of sector, and it just takes so much time to remove children. And then you're sat at
Yeah.
home, you know, children are in certain homes. It is a very, very challenging situation.
Yeah.
And yeah,
But
really, really tough.
it gave me, a massive eye opener and perspective on life, and
Yep.
really valuing my life and me as a person, and what I wanted from life, and how you then want to bring up your own kids and what you want to show them, how you can protect them. But also, I think, um, y- y- I think people are too protected now. You need to be exposed to these things to know the difference, and you also see them. And I think being exposed to or seeing things that most people shouldn't see, sometimes I actually think it's benefited me as a person. And you're right, when you talk about fight or flight, like, what I do now is so easy. There's nothing hard about what I do. There's nothing hard about what I do at all.
When you've seen what you've seen and been through what you've been through, when you're
Yeah.
doing a workout and you want to push
Not,
hard,
not,
and
not,
it's, you know,
man, it's a
it's
privilege.
nothing. It's a
It's a
privilege.
privilege. It's an
It's a
absolute
privilege.
privilege. And I think, to answer your question in terms of mindset of people, it's like, I think it's learning that, you know, if people are working out and moaning about stuff and that's all they've got going on in their life, and I'm like, bro, get some perspective. And I said
Yeah.
that earlier, of what you're able to do. You're in a privileged position to be able to get up, have your family, have your work, whatever it is, and be able to physically train. Because again, another aspect, you can look at like other elements and other countries in the world and everything that's gone on in the last couple of years in the whole world, and wars and pandemics, which was a complete joke. I won't even go into that. I never bought that for a second.
That's a different podcast.
Never wore a mask. Never took a jab. They didn't care about anything they said. And did anything happen to me? No, because I'm fit and healthy. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, like, we're so privileged to be in this country and do what we do. And I think realizing that, I think a lot of the time can be the 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 bigger picture of understanding of how things can be easy. And I would always say that to someone, even when I coach people, is like, when you were talking about a little bit of trying to fight and do all these things, I think people lose sight of that bigger picture and deeper meaning of training and health and lifestyle. And a lot of people who do train, I feel, override their life with their training, when really your training should be making your life better.
Yes, totally agree. And I said earlier, I went the 5-year period I've been through. I've been through that, and I
Yeah.
feel as though it took over and actually was having a negative effect on my life because I was
Hmm.
doing too much and putting too much pressure on myself. But now it's got to a point where actually it's benefiting me so much for the right reasons, and I listen to my body. But I've had to go through those challenging situations to learn that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
think you do. You need to go through them to experience it. I think the best learned process and practice is from experience, getting it wrong, trial and error. As long as it's not wrong to a massive detrimental effect to other things, then
Yeah.
maybe you need to put the brakes on. But little things you can definitely like reflect back on, and you know now through your own experience where you could have made things better. And then hopefully now, like a lot of people should, they can then say, all right, like questioning yourself a lot of the time, do I need to do this, or setting up a structure that is beneficial to your life? Like one of the things I always say also is, and I think many gym goers make this mistake, and a lot of people, I've just joined a new gym recently, so I don't know anyone in there, and I'll be honest, I put my headphones in and I do my own thing anyway. But people are coming up to me because they're like, oh, I've just, and I do my Olympic lifting, I'm doing some crazy metcons, and it's a gym where not many people are doing that. It's a JD gym, and it's super quiet, massive, but it's so quiet.
Right.
And it has all the quality kit. But people come up to me and saying, how do you train? What do you do? And I always ask them, like, what are you doing now? And they just walk in the gym and they're like, oh, I'll just do some bit of chest, bit of buys, and I'll just try and lift as heavy as I can every single day. And I'm like, are you enjoying it? They're like, well, I don't know. I just come in and I do this.
A
And I'm like,
routine. It's a routine.
yeah. And I'm like, amazing, because you're doing it for one, right? But why don't you just tighten that up and make it like proper? You know, get a good program, get a good schedule, have something to work on and progress with. And one of the things I always say to my clients is train to be successful. You don't walk into the gym to do a training session to fail in that training session in any aspect. You shouldn't be failing lifts. You shouldn't be failing pace times, because the training is there to put you in the limits that you can do to improve your whole overall capacity. So if anyone's like not getting the time that they want, they're setting themselves up already to fail. You know, it's like doing an EMOM with too many reps or calories in. Well, why just take 2 reps off and 2 calories off every minute, so you can actually be successful in the workout and come out better than getting annoyed and pissed off throughout the workout because you can't keep up with it. I'm like, you're not at that level yet. Drop it down and then you will be at that level.
That's a part of an ego thing, though, isn't it? If you set up a 30-minute EMOM and you want to do 20 cal row, 20 dumbbell snatch, and 15 box jumps, that would be great for you. And if someone saw that, you'd explain to them, well, I tell you what, start at 12 cals, start at 10 dumbbell snatch. No, I want to give it a go.
Yeah.
You'd rather complete the 12 cals, 12 reps. Brilliant. Next time, actually, I can go 14. So always start a little bit lower, because then you're going to get used to the movements. You're going to find out where you're at. And then the following week, you then start seeing progress going up, as opposed to going all out, failing. Oh, shit, I've got to go backwards now. And that's a negative feeling then, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. Like, why do that? So what that I did, I did a 15-minute EMOM the other day. I can't. Oh, it was ski. Can't remember what it was. It was ski and something else, burpees and ski, burpees and ball slams. I did. It was a 15-minute EMOM, and I did like 17 burpees, 17 slams, 17 calories for 15 minutes. Someone who I know messaged me on Instagram just yesterday, I think, and they went, "Oh, I tried this workout and I did 2 rounds and I was dead." And I'm like, and I know, like, this isn't against anything about them. I just know it was a girl, and I just know her fitness level is nowhere near mine. Right. And also the calories, if it was a female, I would have given on that workout, I'd have probably done 15 instead of 17.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. At least on the ski, the burpees and the ball slams, you could probably do 17 if you're at a good fitness level. But I said, like, why did you just do 2 rounds? Why didn't you just reduce the reps? And they're like, oh, I wanted to give it a go. I'm like, yeah, but you ended up not doing anything because you did 6 minutes and you were fucked.
Yeah.
Where's the benefit? So yeah, you're right. And I think a lot of people make that mistake, but I think training to be successful in a training session is the most important thing. So you can walk out better than you were when you walked in, knowing you've accomplished that session and you've done it. Look, if we're trying to hit 1 rep maxes, that's a different session, you know? Yeah. But when it's training, we are training to improve. So why would you fail and create negativity around the failure within a session?
That training always takes longevity, and people want it done within a week. They want it done within 2 weeks. Whereas when I turned 40, I said to myself, I'm going to be fitter for life. I didn't say for a year, for 2 years. I said, right, this is part of my life now. Fitness is a lifestyle. So it'll fit into my day. I'll always make it work. and I become quite competitive. So I ended up doing a few comps and like going down some black holes and yeah, learning a lot about CrossFit. And it's been a brilliant journey. But I did find the EMOMs, for those that don't know what it is, every minute on the minute, you choose a movement. You can put a rest minute if you want to for the classic 40-minute EMOM.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a really, really big game changer for me because it taught me about managing my own heart rate, my own red line, my own
Yeah.
rep scheme. I
Yeah.
used to think a good workout was how fast can I feel out of breath? How fast can I get the throat burning? I went through that zone and now it's a case of, well, actually, what's my rep scheme? And the EMOMs I felt were brilliant for that. And I'd start at, 13 cows on the rower, 13 thrusters, and put lots of couplets and triplets in there. Put in the rest minutes so you can push harder. So EMOMs, if anyone's listening, and it'd be nice actually if you could set an EMOM challenge for maybe the listeners today. That'd be really cool in a minute.
Yeah.
And so the
I've
EMOMs are such a good way of training.
already got one, simple one that I've done a few times. But no, EMOMs are an amazing method of workout, and you can apply it to anything. You can put it in bodybuilding, like just lifting workouts. So you can put bicep curls, bench press. Obviously, you can apply it to everything. But the classic stuff is the conditioning and the endurance side. But it's like having your own coach there because your coach is on your watch.
Yes.
And obviously, if
You're
you've got a
accountable for
Garmin
the
as
minute.
well,
You're accountable for the minute.
yeah,
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
yeah, and
It's you
you'll know
versus the
yourself.
clock.
And I do this also. So say I'm doing 5x5 back squat and I'm going to be like, right, I'm going to rest like 3 minutes between each set. 4.5 minutes has gone. I'm like, shit, I need to do the set,
Yeah.
But with an EMOM, you set it, the timer's there, it vibrates and beeps on your watch, or you've got your clock on the wall, and it's just a perfect way. And I absolutely love EMOMs to keep you in check.
And it's a great measurement of fitness. It's such an easy measurement of fitness. Right, this is my workout today. This is my cows and my scores. In 2 weeks' time, can I increase by one rep or one cow? You can move incremental changes can make such a big difference over the course of 8 weeks.
And then that is
can shift up.
success because you've progressed.
Of course it is.
I did Miko's triangle last. I think it was last. Yeah, it was. It was last week.
I saw you post that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I initially put 15 calories, so I did the first round on 15 calories. I was like, "This is." I know it was the first round of a 40-minute, 10-round workout. So if anyone doesn't know, Miko's triangle, classic kind of CrossFit-based workout or endurance workout, where you will do if I've got this right in the right order, you do 15 calorie row, 15 calorie or calorie row, calorie ski, calorie assault bike, and then you rest. So there's 4 minutes and you do that 10 times. I started off at 15 because again, I've just had 4 weeks off and I was like, right, I'm going to do a good endurance session. Did the first 2 rounds, I think, and I was like 15 calories. And I was like, feels a bit easy. But again, from experience, I know this. So as a beginner, you wouldn't necessarily know. And I did the next round. I think I did the third round at 16. I was like, fuck it, let's just go 17. And I did the remaining rounds at 17. Could have started on 17, but I finished on 17 and did like 7 rounds at 17, first 2 at 15, and then a 16. And it didn't feel like it was killing me because that 1 minute rest at the end of those 3 minutes was so good in that workout.
You can recover. It's a great workout. Yeah. And 17, by the way, if anyone listening, that's a big number, especially for the ski. The ski to get 17 every round is so challenging. And the lap.
I find the ski probably like do I find the row the hardest? Just because I'm only 5'7", so the row for me, I can still pull the rower. But the ski, again, it's a lot of upper body strength and I'm quite strong on the upper body. So the ski for me, for most people, it does exactly what you're saying.
It kills me. It's the worst thing for me.
It's as equal as the others for me.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And I was surprised at that. I'll be honest. I thought 17 calories was going to kill me and I thought I might have to drop, but I didn't. And I finished. And I'll be honest, my gym at the moment, it's not cold, but I wasn't sweating like I normally should be because the gym's a little bit, it's not super hot.
Yeah.
And I walked away, not even that sweaty, not that gassed. And I was like, just on 17 calories on Miko's triangle.
Yeah, that's
and
big, really mate. That is big. That's big.
And I was like, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
the point of that and the method of that is I want to be successful in that workout. So I started at 15, felt good,
Exactly the point.
went to 16, felt good, and then could I have gone 18? I'd have been pushing it if I'd gone 18, but I could possibly could have.
But now you know where you're at, though. You now know actually next time I can realistically attempt 18. I know it's going to get dark. It's going to get challenging from round 8 onwards. There's going to be horrendous pain. You're prepared for that now.
Yeah,
Whereas if you
yeah,
would have
like
just started 20, 20, 20, I dropped to 8, 19, 18, 17. There's no success there, is there? So
no,
even
no, no,
you
no.
in your position where you are now, Chris, you know, you are a fit, strong, top athletic guy. You know, you train a lot of people. You are still going, okay, well, I'll start at 15. That's a
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
big thing to
Yeah,
do. You know
yeah.
what to do, and other people need to listen to that because you've left your ego at the door. I'm not going to try and do 20 like the elite, RX athletes do and all the pros. I'll start at 15, and then you build up and build up and build up. It's a great thing to
And
do.
I'll be honest, I'll probably do it again next week at some point. I normally do like a longer session like that on a Wednesday, but I'll probably start at 16 or 17, and then for the last 5 rounds, I'll probably up it to 18. Because I don't know how you find this. Me as a person, when I do workouts, I always improve throughout the workout when I start getting
Yeah,
into the floor.
the first 2 rounds are horrendous. They're always the
Yeah,
worst.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
that
My
about?
first, just your body getting used to it, and
Yeah,
yeah. But again, this goes down to again when you look at like real fitness, people's VO2, and if people don't really understand what VO2 is, everyone talks about aerobic capacity and improving VO2. VO2 is probably is the most key indicator of your fitness level. And on a very basic level to understand it, it is your body's ability to uptake oxygen within a time period and use that oxygen as energy with a carbohydrate or a fat to then output into whatever you're doing. The
yes,
more the more oxygen your body can uptake and hold within a hemoglobin cell, the red blood cells in your body, is better. So therefore your VO2 goes higher. Little example, I know you probably know this, but just for anyone who's watching, is I always describe it like this. Your red blood cell is here. Let's say it can hold 10 units of oxygen, and then obviously it's going to output probably like 7 or 8. Some gets lost in the process with a carb or a fat as a fuel
yeah,
source for energy. But what if your body can uptake 12 or 13 or 15? That oxygen is like the catalyst and primer to be used and mixed with your fuel source as a whole fuel to then output as energy. So when people talk about improving aerobic fitness VO2, we're teaching our body to uptake more oxygen because of the demand we put on it.
yeah,
You need to be successful in your sessions to be able to do that. So I could have easily done a 12-calorie Miko's triangle and it'd be beneficial because it would have probably put me in like zone 2 or zone 3 throughout the whole thing. When I then start taking up to 16, 17, 18 calories, my zone goes up to like 4,
yeah.
5, and it becomes a little bit of a different process of how your body uses energy and how fast it needs to do it and how fast it can recover. So that's why I always say be successful in your training so you can teach your body and force it to adapt to improve it for the longer term.
Agreed,
Um,
agreed.
yeah,
You've explained that really well, and it's really clear for everyone. And just want to add to that that the only way you can get to that point is by putting the
it's
work
not,
in.
yeah. And I'll be honest as well, a side of it that, especially when we get to our age, we've got to be a bit more, and I'll use this word very highly within the sentence, we have to be more intelligent as we approach training. When people are dumb when they approach their training, they don't get good results. They blame everything and anything, thinking they're training and training and training. Overtraining is a dumb way to train. You think you're doing more, but you're doing potentially more damage and getting less out of it. So yeah, being a bit more intelligent, and that awareness comes with fuel,
Yeah,
obviously with nutrition, with your sleep, and then with recovery, to just be a bit more attuned. But then that's where coaches come in. So people who haven't learned that yet, we can tell them and say, look, this is how you should be. Trust me, trust the process. Whether they listen or
right.
not, it's a different story. But literally trust the process because this is what I've learned. This is what I've done. Um, and I'm also a very big practice what I preach person. And I'll always speak from experience. That's a huge thing for me. If I haven't done something or someone asks me a question, like some people before have said like about fasting, about keto diet, I'm like, no idea. Could it benefit you? Possibly, but I can't say it's going to benefit you like this because I haven't done it.
But that comes with credibility from your point of view, Chris. You talk about what you know and what you've experienced, and you can bring credibility to that. There's no point getting involved in things that, yeah, you might have a bit of experience and a little bit of knowledge, but that's not your niche. So whatever, crack
It's so,
on.
yeah, and it's so strange as well. Like the fitness industry now is, I think, half really good, but you know the good people out there, and it's half a
Yeah.
joke,
Yeah.
right? Because you've got all these people who sound really good, good-looking guys and good-looking women with great asses and flex and all the rest of it, telling people what to do with, and they're like 22 and have no clue what they're doing, really. You know, and they're giving all this advice, but people see it and listen to it. And it's kind of what we're in the industry, or the fitness industry, I feel is one of the only industries now that requires no entry level. None whatsoever at
It's
all.
scary, actually. It is scary.
Very
And
scary. Yeah.
that's definitely a good topic of conversation to dig into properly. You know, it
Massive.
is
It
such a,
would be good to get like a couple of us on, like,
yeah,
to
I'll
discuss
organise that.
exactly that. But
Yeah.
it's like, if you came around to my house, mate, while I was renovating, and you're like, "Oh, Chris, yeah, your pipes under your sink, or a gas tap needs capping off, or something like that." I'm like, "Can you do it?" You're like, "Yeah, this is how you should do it," but you haven't really got a clue. But something catastrophic could happen if you told me what to do. But you could be talking with conviction. You've watched a YouTube video and you're like, "Yeah, mate, just cut it off there, put that cap on, type it up, do a bit of soldering on it, like this, that, the other." And you're like, "All right." The thing is, no, you couldn't go into someone's house and tell them to do that. They'd be like, "Fuck off, mate. You're having a laugh, aren't you?" But
Yeah.
suddenly in fitness, everyone can say, "Right, eat like this, train like this. These are the results you're going to get." Without any experience, knowledge, qualification, understanding, or really any results to stand on. It's a
I think a
crazy
lot,
world.
it is a crazy world, and I could go down a proper dive with this one and talk about it. But no, but just because people do have a lot of young people have a lot of followers, they feel as though they can obviously share information that they do get elsewhere, and they might be really good at talking, great personalities, or get it across in a kind of a niche kind of way. But at the end of the day, not knowledge is king, and you know sometimes you've got to be a bit careful out there. Is what I'm saying. Got to be a little bit
I
careful.
think I think as well. Like I don't do anything, and I've never done anything on my social media that has been like a clickbait kind of post, if you know what I mean. But then there's other guys and girls. All credit to them though. They've got massive followings. They'll be making money from their programs and stuff. Who do
Yeah.
literally live on clickbait stuff, follow algorithms, follow certain like trends. I've never really done any of that. I've just been pretty. My Instagram's as raw as it comes. I film my
I'm just a
workout.
I'm just a bitter older person.
Yeah, but I do. I just try and keep it super real, super raw, and just speak
Yeah.
from
And
experience
it
and
is,
try and share
and
it.
it is, and it's really good content. Talking of content, it'd be really cool for our listeners to maybe should we share an email, a workout each for them to do at home?
Yeah, you were saying an EMOM. What I would love people to do, just to kind of start one when you're on about like a good little tester, would be one that I like. It's just an EMOM to failure, which is the opposite of what I just said. But what it does is allows you to test and retest in the future.
Correct. It's the
All
benchmark.
you're gonna, yeah. So two machines. And I used to do this on my C2 bike, which I absolutely love. It's in my mum's garage at the moment, so I haven't really got access to it. But literally, start off minute one calorie, one burpee. Minute two, you're going to rest a lot at the beginning, but trust me, after 10, 12 minutes, it's going to get nasty. So, yeah, 1 calorie, one burpee. Second minute, 2 calories, two burpees. Third minute, three. Keep going until you fail.
The
So
the death EMOM.
within 20 minutes, people are going to be failing this workout. It's kind of, or you could even make it a bit more nasty. Start at 3 calories, three burpees, go 6 calories, six
Yeah,
burpees, 9 calories, but then that'll cut it quite short. So
correct. Yeah, different.
you're
It's
going to
also
be
different
going,
intensity, different stimulus. That isn't it?
yeah. But I think if people are beginners, go one and increase it. It's fun because you're on one
Yeah,
calorie. This is a joke. One burpee. You're resting for the first 10 minutes,
it
really, and
will
then it
humble you. It
starts.
will humble you.
it starts getting nasty. But you could, like I said, I would say beginners do 1 to start with. Intermediate do 2 calories, 2 burpees, and add 2 every round. And then if you're a bit more advanced, go 3, make it super nasty, and then just go 3 calories, 3 burpees, and then keep going till you can't fit the calories or the burpees within the minute. Because there'll be 2 minutes within that where you might get to like 18 calories, and then you're literally jumping off your cardio
Straight back
machine,
on.
back in your burpees. You might squeeze the 18 burpees in within the minute, but you've got no rest, and you're jumping back on to get in like 19 or 20 calorie, whatever
Yeah.
it might be. And it's you'll probably fail the next round if you get like that. But that for me is
nice.
a basic bread and butter EMOM that you could do now today, and then test it again next week, then the week after, and make it a steady test throughout. You could do it each week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is, but it's just a really good one to say over a period of like 3 months, and with you doing everything else in your training, to come back to it and then smash. And imagine a guy who stops at 12 calories and 12 burpees, and then in 3 months' time, he's gone up to like 17 or 18 calories, and then you can measure it.
That's
and this
right.
comes
It's
down to the
measurable.
method of training we like, which is CrossFit, which is measurable training. How can we measure what we're doing?
Yeah, agreed. It's a great workout. I'll be giving it a go. I'll make sure I share my score. I do. So I've got kind of benchmark to see where I'm at, and it's a similar one. So it is an EMOM. It's 30 minutes. It's row and burpees, and it's just I have a set calorie score that I have to hit on every minute. So the row, it's 15 calories, 15 burpees, 15 calories, 50, and just go for the 30 minutes. And it's just, if I can't hit that 15, I know I'm not where I need to be. And if I'm at 20 minutes in, dropping down to 13 or 14, I know I'm not where I am at. So yeah, so it kind of gives me that benchmark. That's my go-to. Okay, where am I at? And I'll give that one a go. So feel free to give that one a go as well, guys. I do love a burpee. I love the rowing machine.
Yeah.
Hate the
No, I
ski,
love
hate double unders.
I like double unders. I do like burpees. Give me, I think there is a CrossFit 7-minute burpee test. I think the best I ever got was something.
The score, you got to jump up and touch the 9 feet, is it, or 8 feet?
I think it's. I'm not sure, but there is one. I think
maybe it's 7 feet. Yeah, it is. It's a burpee to touch, and it is 7. I think it's 7 feet.
Yeah, 7 minutes though. I think I did that a while back, without anything to touch, just regular burpees. But I was like standing up and doing a proper burpee, and I got like 136.
What's that? So what's that a minute?
It's like 23 or something, like crazy.
Cool.
Like 136 or something horrible.
The 70. Yeah, wow. Wait, yeah, that's a really that's a big score.
No, it's like 19 a minute or something like that, 18 a minute or something. Yeah.
Have you seen the Craig Ritchie Daily Cardio app that he's released?
I haven't.
It's really good. So I use it. It's 15-minute workouts. If I'm struggling for a workout, it's one I can jump straight into. The reason why I say it is because one of them was a burpee workout, and it was just the amount of burpees. And I think it was similar, but it was an EMOM, so you had to get the burpees within the minute. And I think it was just 6 minutes though. I did that, but I can't remember my score. But I know the target was to try and hold that at 17, 18 burpees a minute. And by the time you get 4 minutes in, 5 minutes in, it's a big struggle. It's a big struggle.
Yeah. If your body's not ready for that, and you haven't got that capacity to deal with it, because burpees and cardio together is just pure VO2 testing, and this is what we're talking about to improve that. You can just do a test on it, see where you are. But again, it just comes to how hard you can push as well, the horrible dark place that you can go to, and see if you can bring it out. Because even me, throughout my training, throughout the years, I can probably count on probably one hand how many times or maybe two now, but how many times I've purely gone to the dark place where you're on the floor and you're like, all right, if I die right now, it's okay. Like that's where it's just pure euphoric, where there's nothing else within your mind or vision other than you just like laying down to finish and collapse on a workout. I did it on probably one or two of those workouts in the British Masters. I did it on a lunge workout, I think, and then that sandbag workout was horrible. But yeah, it's very hard to find and push yourself that
It
hard
is, but
physically.
that's where the good stuff. That's where the good stuff lies. That's the only place you can grow is by pushing yourself. That's the extreme limit you're talking about. But if we're talking about
Yeah,
a red
yeah, yeah,
line, the workout starts when you want to stop, right? That's when the workout truly begins. And I see a lot
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah,
I see a lot of
yeah.
people getting, lots of high fives before they start a workout, getting really hyped up for it. Total waste of energy. I mean, brilliant, you're enjoying it, but save that for round 5 when you want to quit, because that's when you need the hype. That's when you've got a fight in your head and go, yep, let's go. Like that's where you need your energy. And
Yeah.
it's really hard for people to understand that, before the workout starts. It's all right to be excited,
Tell
but
you,
save
tell
it.
you as well. One of the biggest things that fits nicely into what I'll say is one of the biggest changes that I made to my training when I went into the British Masters build up. So I literally did like a 10-week training block once I'd qualified, and then there was a bit of time period. Then we got the date for the
Yeah.
the comp, and we didn't know what the thing is. A lot of CrossFit comps, and you'll know, is you don't know what the workouts are going to be. I personally love that. I wouldn't even like them to be released at all. I would like to show up on the day and find out, because I
Yeah,
think
it's great fun. That's
everyone
part of the fun, isn't it?
cost it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I did for those 10 weeks build up was all of my training sessions where I did my strength work, my accessory work. I did a couple of obviously longer pieces of cardio stuff, but then all of the workouts were competition based sessions.
Yeah.
And it was purely to get me into the mindset of switching on to be like, all right, I've got to give 100%. So when I was training on my own in my garage, there was no workout that I was cruising in when I was doing a proper session. It was mimicking literally a competition workout. So they were all in a very, like the longest time domain, I think was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Shortest ones are like 7 minutes. So you've got 8, 7, 10, 12, 15-minute workouts, EMOMs and horrible things like heavy thrusters with toes to bar and burpee box jumps. And
Replicating the expectations that will something similar is going to come up. The mindset situation, the preparation. I'm sure
absolutely.
you were taking workouts from previous competitions and testing it. Okay, what time scales were they doing that in? Where do I fit?
Yeah, what I did as well, I made the conscious decision. I rang Brandon, who I talked about, the games
Yeah.
athlete, because he's like Brandon now. I think is 34, might become 35. And I rang him as I'd qualified, and I said, "Bro, I want you to program for me for the next like 8 weeks. These are my weaknesses, and these are the obviously just program me kind of comp style sessions." That did two things for me. It made me accountable to him throughout that 2 months of coaching. And then it also took any bias of my own training to go into it out. So I was obviously, he has a training app. I was opening the app and just seeing the session, and I'm like, shit.
Shit.
And I'm like, okay. And that feeling is beautiful, because I then had to do that workout. Then I'd feedback to him some of the times. And yeah, but what it did is he created the sessions that I would never have created, because we just have a different mind, and it just allowed me to be told what to do, and it gave me me being a client, or me being the athlete, to just kind of do it. And he put in, like he said, a lot of his games based training into that, and it was perfect.
Great. So
You
yeah,
know,
it sounds like a fantastic model for you in that build up. And I'm kind of in that similar territory now where I've had a week building back into just getting the body moving again, trying out a couple of things, seeing where I'm at. And then next week my program starts. But with the program, and you had an opportunity there to replicate a competition where open up, what's the workout today? And sometimes we do bias. We train things we want to do that day.
of course we do. Yeah,
It's really
I
easy to
was.
do that.
One thing I did ask him, I said, look, I'll take care of all my strength work. So I did all my heavy lifting, which I love, and program for that. But he was putting in some other accessory work for me, and then like 2 kind of shorter, high intensity comp style metcons
Yeah.
for me to do. And I would do one, then I'd rest like 5 or 10 minutes, then I'd do the other one, and it mimicked the
Perfect. Perfect.
competition. And
Yeah.
when I went into that comp, I was above and beyond ready, and I felt like I trained better than anybody else in that competition going into it.
And
Because
that's why you
if I
won it.
didn't, of course it is. It is genuinely. And
Yeah.
if I didn't go into it feeling like that, I've done something wrong, because if I didn't have the self-belief, why was I there?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, mate. But I cannot believe an hour and a half's gone. We have smashed this today. Can you believe it?
I know.
Before, but before I let you go, buddy, I do want to ask a real quick question. If thrusters were a flavour, what flavour would they be? Think of crisps. If thrusters were a flavour crisp, what flavour would it be?
See, I like thrusters. I think there'd be a quaver.
Quavers. That's definitely a love or hate thing, I think. Quavers. Yeah, cheesy. I
Yeah.
love to hate
Or there might
thrusters.
be. No, I'll be honest. I'll take that back. Actually, there'd be salt and vinegar. Definitely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
Cool.
think so. Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
a bit Moorish, a bit spicy, a little bit, and a bit sharp.
Yeah.
I don't like thrusters, so I'm not like, oh, I hate them and it's a horrible flavor that no one like Marmite or something. I like thrusters, so give me a heavy barbell thruster and I'll probably outperform a lot of people.
Fair one.
Yeah.
I really, really hate dumbbell thrusters. I prefer the barbell thruster. The dumbbell, give me 222.5 dumbbells. That's really challenging.
Yeah.
I'd do it, but I'd have to break it up, sets of 5 maybe. I
See,
said earlier,
I could do set of 21, no problem on dumbbell thrusters, especially
really,
because it's
yeah, that's
like,
strong.
like
Yeah, that's
it's,
strong.
yeah, like, or even, even more. But I also like devil press, which is,
Yeah, I don't mind devil press. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's a a great movement for I love putting it in EMOMs. Really good, stick 7
yeah.
of them in an EMOM. It's great. Row, get on that. It's
I tell you what,
really good fun.
one of the workouts I did, I remember, because a guy had messaged me, he put a comment on, and it was a EMOM that I'd done, and it was like calories, box jump, and devil press, where I put 10 devil press in, and then I think there was a rest after the devil press, because
So you
10
can
at
go right to the
22,
minute, right? Which is, yeah,
yeah, 22 and a half. Even the movement itself takes a while.
it does. It's a long
Just
movement.
the
It is
down, the up, the press, and then down again. So even though you're going fast, you can only fit a certain amount in that minute.
correct.
Mm. Anyway, I put it on. It was something like 21-minute EMOM, I think, or 24 minutes, whatever it might have been. And some guy was like, "You didn't do that." I'm like, What do you mean I didn't do it?" He's like, "You didn't do that. You can't do 10 devil press in a minute." I'm like, "Well, I did." And he's like, No, it's impossible." And then we had this big conversation. I'm like, bro, I'm not bothered. In the end, it got to the point where I was like, I'm not really bothered if you think I did it or not. If you don't think 10 was possible, then
That's
go and
fine.
do 8. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, a nasty movement, but I do like
it
that.
is.
That was one of the
It
good
is.
workouts in the British Masters champ. The first workout was 7. I think was it 7? It was 5 rounds, 7 devil press, 14 box jumps at 30-inch.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
That
nice.
as fast as you can. The only problem with that one, and I didn't know until the day, I didn't even know until 5 minutes before the workout, is you had to step down off the 30-inch box.
Okay.
And that
I
killed
would
me
do that
because
anyway. I would do
I
that
wouldn't
anyway.
do that because, mate,
Oh,
I'm
because you're.
5'7". I can't properly step down off the box.
Did
So
you
I had
not
to
read
like
the?
step.
Did you not read the instructions? You got a ladder with it.
I needed a ladder. I can jump up okay, but stepping down, I'm like falling back as I'm stepping. So it actually made it worse for me
Yeah,
and a
I
bit
get it.
slower because I had to step down. I was like, shit, I've never stepped down off a 30-inch box before because I can't really step down from it. But I had to
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
and I did it.
Fair
And
play.
I won that workout, I think.
There we
But
go. Then it didn't stop you.
yeah, yeah.
Chris, Matt, I've absolutely loved this conversation today. It's gone down avenues I didn't expect it to go down. It's real nice just to have a conversation, open-minded person, sharing the same kind of mindset. And at the beginning we spoke about your journey of 4 weeks of not training. We found out the why behind that, and also that you know, fitness isn't just about that's your only identity. We are so much more than that, and I think people need to remember that. And to finish off, I think it's really important we know that training might build the body, but stopping showed you actually that you can recover. It also builds your mind, and rest is best sometimes. It's not just about smashing it all the time. And the knowledge this guy has is incredible. So please give Chris a follow on Instagram, Fitness Rigby. He shares some fantastic content, lots of EMOM workouts, and I do a lot of them. So I appreciate the content, and please keep it coming. And also, you are an online coach, aren't you, Chris? So do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been doing online stuff for a while. I've got monthly subscription programs, 4 different programs that people can jump onto anytime, come off anytime with different training cycles all the time. We're in the new year training cycle at the moment, which is all cluster work for the strength, functional bodybuilding, athletic, a mass program. And then I've got a shorter 60-minute program, and then like a hybrid, which is more CrossFit based with a few more Olympic lifts and a few different complex gymnastic movements in there as well. So depending on your training style and what you like to do, there's hopefully a program in there. They're not for beginners. You've got to be at least a gym goer and have a bit of experience, and because there is all the different styles and training in there. And then I also do, they're my monthly programs, and also then one-to-one coaching with people on an individual basis as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, cool.
Very shortly, I'm going to be also launching, probably the first person I'm telling, because I've been working on this for
we've got an exclusive.
A little bit of an exclusive. It's not going to change anything with what I'm doing at the moment, but it will be coming into play. I've been building this out with one of my clients, basically, who lives in the US, who I've been coaching for about 12 months. I've gone into like business with him and another guy, but he's put investment into it. We've got our own app and everything. We've been building it out since last year. It should go live the end of January.
Fantastic.
But it's a whole new training platform. It's called Train Collective.
Okay.
And we're starting off with 3 programs in there: home-based program, commercial gym-based program, and a strength garage program for anyone who obviously trains in their garage. They're the first 3 programs we're coming out with. I've got
Brilliant.
a female coach coming on board as well, which is amazing. An amazing girl who lives over in Manchester. She's going to be writing up the female one, and then we will be offering like higher exclusive, what I'm saying exclusive, but a higher elite level one-to-one coaching as well on that platform. So
exciting, that's brilliant. Congratulations,
super
mate.
Exciting. Two new business partners. And the good thing for me with this is, because I do everything myself and have done for a long time, from building my website to emails to everything. With this, my business partners are taking care of all the back end, all the website, all the funnels, all the site, like everything. I can then purely focus on the programming, the content creation for it. So that's in the works now. We had a big meeting for it yesterday. The website's going to launch soon, and we've been building it up for a while. So a Train Collective will be coming out. You'll be seeing that a little bit.
Superb, mate. Superb.
Shortly.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it launches, give it a shout, mate. That'd be really good to talk about as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anything that you think would be good content, just give us a shout. But mate, what a great conversation. Really enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I hopefully get to talk again soon. We can dig into to some other bits. But for now, we're going to say thanks to our listeners. We appreciate our guest today, Chris Rigby, absolute legend, absolute powerhouse.
Hopefully they've made it this far if they haven't got bored after 20 minutes.
I'm sure people will be listening to it in bits. That's what they usually do. But I've enjoyed the conversation, and I hope you have too, big man.
Me too, mate. Appreciate you asking me to come on, and thank you.
No worries. And we will see you all next time on the next podcast. So for now, it's over and out. Chase Payne Pod. See you later.